Welcome, friends of the media, to this press conference. For the first part, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Mr. Peter Shiu, will speak about Chapter 5 of Report number 80. Afterwards, there will be a Q&A session. Please raise your questions based on this report, and before you speak, please identify the organization you represent. Welcome to the press conference of the Public Accounts Committee. Today, the committee has tabled in the Legislative Council the report number 80. There are 8 chapters, and Chapter 5 is maintenance and improvement of school premises for aided schools. We have conducted 2 public hearings. The committee member in charge of this chapter is Mr. Louis Long, and he will brief us on this chapter. Afterwards, let's see whether other members have anything to supplement, and then we'll have the Q&A session. Let me pass the floor to Mr. Long. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Chairman of the committee has spoken in the council meeting this morning and spoke about the report number 80 of the Director of Audit, Chapter 5 of the report, Maintenance and Improvement of School Premises for Aided Schools. He talked about the results of the public hearings, and I don't intend to repeat the details here. You may have noticed that the committee has expressed concerns or only expressed concerns on various issues. There are no strong condemnations or criticisms against the Education Bureau. You may wonder if it can reflect the seriousness of the problem. When we conducted the public hearings, we did notice that the Education Bureau, when carrying out maintenance and repairs works for aided schools, there are various areas for improvement. Therefore, when considering value for money, the committee has expressed concerns on various issues and raised different recommendations, and we urged the Bureau to roll out improvement measures. It is understood that between 2020 and 2022, the maintenance and repair works for aided school premises were examined by the audit director. Due to COVID, the daily operation of schools were seriously disrupted, and for a period of time, schools had to be closed, and so progress of works and the relevant monitoring work were disrupted or delayed. We understand that during COVID, the Education Bureau tried to maintain the maintenance works for schools, and in response to anti-epidemic needs, improvement measures were implemented. When COVID subsided, the Education Bureau caught up with the progress of the works or even went beyond target for some of the works, and it shows that Education Bureau attached importance in carrying out its duties. We hope that the Bureau can actively follow up on the recommendations the committee made and provide good teaching and learning environment and ensure the safety and health of students. Thank you, Mr. Long. Anything to supplement by other members? Deputy Chair? Nothing to add. Any questions from media friends? We welcome questions from the floor. We have explained about the content of the report very clearly. Any members would like to talk about your feelings about the report or the public hearings? In terms of the seriousness of the issues or the problems, well, from the audit department's perspective, they consider value of money. Well, over the past few years, there was COVID, and with the impact posed by COVID, a number of schools were closed, and with restricted travel, works had to be delayed. And so it is understood why the progress of works were delayed. And during the public hearings, we were able to further understand the difficulties faced by the Bureau, and that the Bureau tried to, as soon as practicable, resume the work after normal travel had been resumed. Mr. Leung has already spoken about this, and I just wanted to make this point about why we're only making mild comments in this report. Any questions from reporters? Yes. I'm from cable TV. Do you have figures in terms of the waiting time for aided schools to wait for subventions? Also, what kind of improvement measures will the Education Bureau implement? In terms of application time, there are no specific details about it in the report. There are dates mentioned on the report, but while we examined the report, we realized that there was COVID, and the report covered the period between 2020 and 2022. The epidemic was serious, and students could not go to school. While we examined the performance of the contractors and consultants, we shouldn't apply the same standard as before. Anything to add by Mr. Leung? The committee has made recommendations. Over the years, the Education Bureau has not received any requests from schools to raise the thresholds. By thresholds, I mean for some of the works, school may be able to handle the works themselves when the threshold is not reached. But when the threshold of minimum cost is reached, then schools have to make application to the Bureau. We think that the thresholds currently imposed are no longer applicable given the inflation rate. Our recommendation is that the Education Bureau should talk to the schools to review the thresholds of cost. We understand that if the thresholds are raised, then the schools will have to take up more responsibilities. So the Education Bureau should consult the schools first before it makes any amendment to the thresholds. Thank you, Mr. Leung. As mentioned in the report, we understand there were delays in works carried out by contractors. The level of delays or the extent of delays is covered in the report. Perhaps I can elaborate. It depends on the nature of the actual circumstances. The delays varied. Up to 93% of the works could not finish by the date set, and it takes on average 123 days to finish the works, which is quite a long period. Also, the relevant works report did not specify reasons for the delays, and we think it deserves our attention. However, we do understand why there were delays. While it is unacceptable that there was such a long delay, we show our understanding. We hope that the Education Bureau can take follow-up measures. For instance, there should be a better computer system to ensure that better coordination can be ensured. And we see that the Education Bureau has implemented relevant measures. Perhaps I can talk about the issue about asbestos. In the audit report, it is mentioned that we need to closely monitor schools with asbestos-containing materials. It is said that in 2005, there were requirements that such materials have to be removed, and a year later, it was reported to the Legislative Council that the materials would not pose health risks to the public. However, in 2014, schools were asked to still remove the materials, and in 2023, there are still 11 schools with asbestos-containing materials in their premises. We think that there is urgency for the schools to remove such materials. According to the Bureau, it will undertake to ask schools to remove these materials as soon as possible. We think that students' health is of great concern. We hope that after this report is released, students' health can really be guaranteed or protected. Thank you.
Madam Khan, maybe members of the press are still thinking up the next question. In the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about management of contractors and management consultants. And during the public hearing, indeed, this was a matter of concern to members. And we're not going to name names, or no names have been given, and the contractors have been known as contractor A, B, or C. But the Education Bureau has indicated that they would take into consideration the performance and the track record of the consultants and the contractors in order to gauge the scores that they're going to get in future bidding. And a computer system that is upgraded will incorporate that. And that is why this time our report is mildly worded, and we have not leveled stronger criticism against the Education Bureau. And this is because we have discovered that the Education Bureau has been quite responsive to the concerns and the issues that have been identified in the PAC report. And also they have upgraded the computer system, and they have issued clearer and better guidelines for future. Any further questions? If not, any further questions from members of the press? If not, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you.